Hey guys, welcome to session 4 of Dropout Academy's UX Design Foundation course. My name is Mayur Karodia. I am the co-founder and CEO at Dropout Academy and your instructor for the course. With over 9 years of experience in product designing, I have worked with some of the top brands in India like Eros International and Housing.com. In today's session, we'll dive deeper into the world of UI design with everybody's favorite tool, Figma. In the previous session, we spoke about wireframing and applied laws of UX to create some usable wireframe designs. In today's session, we'll talk about how to convert those black and white plain wireframes to polished, clean, professional looking UI designs. But let's understand what is UI design first. UI design or user interface design is all about the aesthetics and visual appeal of the design. It talks about how great is the look and feel of your products or your apps. You have all heard about this product called Canva, right? Do you know why Canva was such a big success? It was not a crazy invention. It almost had all the features, all the functionalities like that of a radio transistor. But it was almost 10 times costlier than a radio. Do you know why? The answer is simple. Because of its unique design. It had this really modern retro look, which looked pretty premium. People just wanted to have it as a piece of decoration in their living rooms. People wanted to own Canva not because of its features, but because of its design, because of its look and feel. And they're happy to pay a higher price for that. And that's what visual design or UI design it. Good UI design makes your product look premium. So while the wireframes are black and white, in the UI design stage, in the visual design stage, we take those wireframes and craft them into pleasant, beautiful, great looking interfaces. But how do you take your designs from here to here? There are various tools to design UI like Adobe XD, Sketch and Figma. The most popular of these, as you would already know, is Figma. Figma is a really powerful tool. It can do pretty much everything as far as designing is concerned. Figma is the #1 design tool used by designers across the world. So let's learn some basic commands in Figma and design a basic UI using this Figma tool. Okay, so you can go to different websites to seek inspiration for your designs. For example, there's something called dribble.com. So you can go through dribble.com and it has all the designers in the world upload their latest designs there. Right, so there you can look for different screens. For example, if you want to look for login screen, you can just click here and it shows you all the greatest all the well-designed screens or designs that you can refer from, and whatever you like, you just copy it and you save it in your Figma files or just create a library where you want to save them all. Right, so I've created an inspiration board in Figma. I'll just paste it here. Similarly, whatever other screens that you like, you can just go through them. So similarly, you can keep on browsing. I mean, Dribble has some of the greatest, UI design inspirations, where top designers share their work. Even you can share your work. You can create your profile here and you can share your work. The only catch is that on Dribble, the designs are not real in the sense that these are not from any live apps. These are just portfolio projects or hypothetical work of the students, but yeah, they're still pretty good. You can get a lot of inspiration as to what are the latest trends, what kind of designs are in, so you can get inspiration in that sense. Another way to get inspiration is this wonderful website called Mobcom. The best part about this is that you get live app, you get design inspirations from the live apps like Uber, Airbnb, Headspace, all the top apps. You get live screenshots, so you don't have to install these apps individually on your phone and then you have to go through them one by one. So you can just get inspiration from these apps. In fact, the wonderful part is that you can even look at these apps with respect to, you can also filter out which specific sections of the app you are looking at, which specific designs you are looking at. So for example, if you are looking for login screen, you can just go to the filters and you can look at, see, there's this login screen here and there are a lot of other filters. So you can just click on login and you get login screens from all the top apps, right? Whatever is going on, whatever the latest apps or live apps are building, and that gives you a lot of insights onto what kind of trends are going on. Because if these top apps are using them, these top apps are creating those kinds of designs, then it must be in, right? So you can take inspiration from the live apps. So whichever you like, you can just copy it and again you save it in your Figma file. So similarly, I have created this mood board here so that quickly I can seek inspiration whenever I'll be creating the UI designs for myself. So I just copy it and put it up in my Figma file. It's that easy. So you don't have to do a lot of juggling between windows. It has a paid version as well, but I think the free version is pretty good. You can get your work done in the free version itself. So I like this one as well. Let's continue with this. And so that's how you basically create like a mood board. You can add a lot of other screens as well, whatever are the latest designs going on. Right, so now that you have your mood board, and in the last session we also created a wireframe for our designs, right, which I have pasted here. So based on looking at this wireframe, let's create the UI. Right, so you have the inspirations, which basically gives you an idea of about what kind of styles are going on, the trends these days, right? Because UI design trends come and go, so you need to create something that is very latest, something that is very versatile, not exactly latest. What I mean to say is that something that is working. And how do you know that? Looking at all the trends that are going on right now. So you have the inspiration here, then you have a wireframe. So let's start to create a UI for our designs. I'll explain about Figma a bit. If you want to install, first of all, let's understand how do you install Figma. It's very simple. You go to this website called figma.com, and the Figma website is going to open up. You can either download the Figma app from here, right? Or you do not even need to download the app to start working on it. You can straight away log in, or you can create an account and start working in the browser itself. So I'll just create my account. There's this beautiful dashboard that is created, which is still getting created. Okay, yeah, so you see this dashboard, and you see that this is how the Figma dashboard is going to look like. If you're looking at it for the first time, do not get overwhelmed. It's pretty simple. I'll take you very, very quickly through it. So on the left, you see your teams and your libraries, like your drafts, your teams. This is where all your design files are going to lie. Simply, for now, let's just focus on how do you create a new design file. There's this blue button. You just click on that and click on drafts, and a new file will be created. So I have already created a new file for you guys in Figma. I have a desktop app. So let me open that. This is how my file is going to look like. And I have created a few pages already. Like one is the inspiration page that I was talking about. Another is wireframes. This is the same wireframe from the last session that we have created. And then you have the UI. Okay. So first things first, this is what your design dashboard is going to, or you can say your design panels are going to look like, in which you'll be designing. So there are three sections, broadly three sections in Figma. One is the left one, which is known as the layer panel. Why layer panel? Because whatever you will be doing in Figma, whatever you will be drawing or putting up, or any designs that you'll be making, what you will be adding here, be it shapes or frames, it will get added, these layers will get added in the left panel. For example, this is your circle, this is a rectangle, this is your frame. So whatever you will be adding here, these will get added up in the layer panel. So these are called as layers, right? Then on the top, what you have is a toolbar. Why it is known as toolbar? Because whatever tools you need to draw something, to design something in Figma, like a circle, square, any text, these are there on the top. For example, this is your move tool. You can click on anything and you can just move it, right? This is frame. Frame is basically where you design things. Now you do not design anything on the blank canvas. You do not put up things, or you do not start designing your apps on the blank screen or the blank canvas. You first draw frame. The shortcut for frame is F. You first draw frame, and then only you start placing things on top of it. You do not design it, or you do not place it inside the blank canvas. Then you have pen tool. What pen tool does is, if you want to draw any random shapes, like unorganic shapes, very random shapes, right? How do I put up random, like these kinds of crazy shapes, then you can use pen tool. Then next to it is the text. Text is very simple. If you want to add any text or fonts, any label in the design, then you can add the text tool. Simply just go on the design and start typing in, right? What I have just typed. Whenever somebody sends you a good meme, right? So you can type in or add any kind of text here using the text tool. Then there are a couple of more tools which are not that important at this stage, right? And then, so this was the toolbar, right? On the right, you have the design panel. Left mein kya tha? Left mein you had layer panel, right mein you have design panel. What design panel does is, whatever objects you will be adding, whatever layers you will be adding, you can tweak their properties, you can customize their properties. For example, you can change their color, You can add stroke to it. You can change its width, you can change its height, you can change the position. So whatever elements you add, you can change their properties. We'll talk about that later in the session. All right, so now comes the fun part. Let us design the login screen, UI design for login screen of a food delivery app, the wireframe of which we have already created. I've just pasted the image here. So okay, first things first, the rule of UI is you take inspiration, you first take your wireframes, and then you see what kind of UI design you want to follow, UI style you want to follow, right? Wireframes has to be the basis because this is what you have created based on a lot of research and talking to your users and understanding, and basically filled in all the functionalities in this. So you take wireframe as the base, and then you start designing the UI. So I'll take a look at some of the inspirations, how the latest apps have been designed, and let's create the UI. First things first, as I mentioned, in order to create anything, in order to design anything, be it website or an app, you first draw a frame. So I go to, as soon as I click on frame, now the thing is how big of a frame I need. So for that, Figma has really good presets of which screen I need. So as soon as I click here on the right, you see that there are certain predefined sizes of devices available. So for example, I have iPhone 14, 13, 14 plus, SE 8 plus. So you can choose any of the device size for now. So let's say I choose iPhone 14. I'm more of an old school guy, so I choose iPhone 14 now, and this is my design. Basically, this is my battlefield. This is where I'll be designing. Now on the top, as you can see, I need to have a logo or an illustration or an icon. All right. So what I do is, first of all, how do I get illustration? So one way to do that is you can download it on the internet, or you can also get it from the plugin directly. So what you do is, plugins are nothing but tools that are already embedded in Figma, which help you to do a lot of things in shortcut, right? So for example, I right click and click on plugins and go to manage plugins. Then I see this plugin called Story Set. As soon as I click on it, it opens something, and then let's say I want an illustration or sort of like an icon for login. So what I do is I just click on login, I just type login, and see it gives me a lot of these beautiful illustrations. I just pick any of these. Let me just pick any of these. Let's say I pick this one. I pick and drag it here, and that's it. It automatically gets added to my Figma file, right? It gets added to my Figma file. Now I can click on move tool and I can just move it here and there. I think this is pretty small for my screen, so I press shift and then I stretch it so that it becomes bigger. I can also make it bigger by clicking here and then adjusting the width and height from here. For example, I say that it has to be 250 pixels in white. I have to click here to maintain the proportions, and then I click 250. Sorry, it's not working for some reason. 250. Okay. So this is my illustration. The color I haven't changed it. How do you choose a color? That's a different topic in itself. Like, should you be even choosing blue, or should you be choosing any other shade of blue? That's a different topic altogether, about which I have created a detailed YouTube video. I'll add that link in the description, but you can go check out how do you choose colors for your designs. That's a big topic in itself, and that's a very important topic. But anyways, we have the illustration here. Now let's add the title. In our wireframes, we had the title, right? Login. So let's add the title. How do we add the title? Click on text and click login. This is pretty big. It's like shouting in your ears. Login now. Okay, let me reduce the font size for now. Login to your account. And then what I do is I increase the font size a bit. So how much should be your font size, how much should be the distance from the top, from the left and right. All of this is a part of the advanced course. For now, I am just keeping the default font of Figma, which is Inter. You can also change the fonts from here. These are all called as typefaces. You can also pick Rubik or any other font, right? I can make it semi-bold so that it looks bolder and more prominent. Then once you have the text set, then let's create the input field, which is where you'll be putting up the phone number. Again, how much should be the distance from the left, how much should be the distance from the right, from the top, all of this is slightly, that is more of advanced level concept. So okay, you center align it so that it's always in the center. Increase the height. Now if I look at the inspirations, I see that mostly people have been using these kinds of hollow designs, stroke, and then underside it's empty, from inside it's transparent. So I'll be following up with the same kind of the design pattern. So how do I do that? First I remove the fill by pressing hide option here. Then I add stroke. How do you add boundaries? You add boundaries by clicking on stroke. As soon as I click on stroke, you see a boundary gets added, right? So I reduce the color. I do not want this to be looking like really dark black, so I reduce the opacity, or reduce the reduce the darkness of the color. And then inside it I have to put up enter phone number, more like a placeholder text. How would the user know what needs to be done in this box? So I add your contact, and then I have to make it smaller because this cannot be that emphasized. This is how designs are done, right? You see, these are pretty small and light, very light. These placeholder text are very small and lighter. And then I change the opacity. How do I make it lighter? By changing the opacity. And then I have my or you can say enter your contact. Then I have my main CTA. Again I draw a rectangle. Maybe I copy this and paste this by pressing Ctrl C Ctrl V. On Mac it's Command C Command V, right? And then I have to make this color, this button has to be prominent, so I fill this color with my main primary color, which for now let's assume our primary color is blue. So how do I fill in the color? We click on this, go to the layer panel, and you already have fill here. Go to the layer panel, then click on this color wala box, and then you can either drag and choose the color from here, or you can click on this eyedropper tool or color picker tool, take it to any object that you want to copy the color from, and just click here. So you see this color has been copied. I remove the stroke. Again, looking at the inspirations, because usually the buttons are, the main buttons are more highlighted and are of the primary color. And then here again I add the text which says login, and that's pretty much it. And maybe increase the size, align it so that it's centrally aligned both horizontally and vertically. How do you align it? Just select both the text and the box, and for the center align click on this, and for vertically align click on this. Now we have 3 more options left where we have to add the social login buttons. So what I add is add another text which says or, right? Then I add another text or. Looking at the inspiration, I think I would go with this one, which basically has these lines. So let me also add these kinds of lines. Even this one has these lines, or login with. So I also follow something similar, or login with. Again, make it centrally aligned. So see guys, the idea is not to copy the patterns, not to copy the exact design. It's just to get inspiration and mold it as per your own design styles, or as per your own requirements. Because remember, wireframes are unique. This you have created based on a lot of research, so you'll still be following your own wireframes. To add line, I click on the pen tool and I click on the draw tool and click on line, and I just draw the line from here, and then copy paste this and place it here, right? Again, these I think are very dark, so what I do is I select them both, first by clicking here, and then by clicking shift, by pressing shift and then selecting. So when you press shift, you can select multiple objects. If you keep pressing shift, you can select multiple objects. So I select both of these lines and change their color as well to make it slightly very, very light. Okay, then we have social login buttons. these, like login with Google, login with Facebook. So what I do is I draw a circle first. How do I draw a circle? By going here, drawing ellipse. I draw a circle, put it aligned to these other objects. Things should be always aligned to each other. It's not like one object is this big, another object is starting from here, ending here, another object is hanging in the air, right? So it shouldn't happen. These designs are going to look bad. Everything should be properly aligned. They should start, from the same horizontal axis. So I click on a circle, and then I change the color to, let's say, some slight lighter shade of blue. So I drag the color to lighter shade of blue so that it's still matching with the overall theme. And now let's add the logo of Google, Facebook, Instagram. How do you do that? Again, you use a plugin. Plugins are very helpful because they, with the help of plugin, you'll not need to go back and forth to Google to download something. You can directly get things in Figma itself. So go to plugin. For getting icons, I use a plugin called, I use a lot of plugins. One of them is Feather Icons. This is the one. Go to Feather Icons. Now search for Facebook. You get the icon. Again, just click. You will get it directly pasted here. I'm keeping it right side. So what you do is just place it inside, right? So now you have icon and circle. Again, we align this horizontally and vertically. I think the color can be modified. The color can be made, based on our primary color. So again, I choose our primary color and put it. Or if you don't like it, if you want something else, then you can also make these colors. Let's look at the inspirations. Okay, they are usually white, and then they have their primary main colors. They usually use the colors that the brands actually use, right? So we can either go with that, or you can go with simply maybe the color of these brands itself. For example, Facebook has a slightly bluish color, and then inside you can make it white. Right. Then copy this entire thing, Control C, Control V, paste this here, use another icon like Twitter. So you can use Twitter's icon here again and put it inside. Delete the other one. Again, make the Twitter icon white. Now, I am not really liking the way these icons look, because see, everything is looking too bluish, and it's like very overpowering. It looks very dominant on the entire screen. If you look at the screen, it looks very bluish. And usually in UI designs, we avoid adding a lot of colors. So what I do is then, maybe again seeking inspiration, or what we can do is, maybe I make this, like I was doing earlier, a lighter shade of blue, and then make this one a darker shade of blue, maybe this primary color, right? So this still looks subtle. Similarly, I do this for this. I do the same for this, and then this one. Or you can even use the brand colors. Similarly, I copy paste and use this. If you look at this, currently the spacing is different in between these, so I'll be fixing that later. First, let's put up another icon. Plugins, Feather Icons. Maybe the next icon could be Instagram. Click here, Instagram opens up. I use it here. And then again, I make it centrally aligned. The lines you see here, these red lines, they basically help you align things. And again, I use the same color. Now this is basic. The basic structure is set. Now it's time to basically tidy up things, to refine it. So what I do is I basically take these, put it here, and then start moving things equally. So I can either press arrow keys to move things one by one. And if I press shift with arrow keys, I can move things more faster by the distance of 10 pixels. Similarly, I bring this here and move this 30 pixels on the left. 1, 2, 3. When I press shift and move with the arrow keys, it moves things 10 pixels at a time. Now this looks a bit tidy up. I am not liking these sharp edges. Usually these latest designs that you see, currently the trends is of softer corners. You do not have these sharp corners. So what I do is I click here, and how do I basically give a curvature to these boxes? By this property, which is the radius, corner radius. So let's say I give corner radius of 10 pixel. You see how this has been basically turned into a curve. Similarly, I select this and again give a corner radius of 10 pixel. If you look at it, now this looks more softer, and I think overall it's coming up really nice, right? And in the end, you can also have a button like already have an account, sign up, or forgot password, or something of that sort. Forgot password, or something like that. If you have any other features that you think of, you can add that. But overall, I think this screen is looking really nice. It's looking decent enough. And then again, similarly like we did in wireframes, you can also create multiple iterations, right? Multiple versions of the login screen as well. So for example, I can just copy this and paste the entire frame. So for example, I can copy paste the entire frame and then start adding different things here. Then I change the style a bit. Maybe if I want to have a different style here, or I want to try something unique here, I can basically come up with those kinds of designs. So I can create multiple iterations for the designs, right? So this can be done, and similarly I can create multiple iterations. For example, one iteration that I have created is this one, right? So again, you can come up with all sorts of unique elements and different styles to come up with different UI styles, and which one you like or the stakeholders like, that you can finalize. But remember, always take good inspirations and try up a lot of different variations. So this is how you create like a basic UI. Now you have to understand one thing: it takes a lot of practice to excel at UI design and Figma. It's also very essential that you have good experience in Figma so that you can create the most complex designs. If you have any creative ideas in your head, you should be able to express those using Figma. So it's very essential that you have like really good experience in Figma. And the best way to start practicing Figma is to first of all just replicate the existing designs. So basically just take really good examples of screens or live apps, just paste them in Figma and start replicating those in the tool. Sort of like recreate those designs using Figma. So by recreating, you just not learn the tool, you will not just learn the commands and all the other features of the tool, but you'll also understand why in these live apps, why in these screens, how much is the spacing they have used, what is the size of the button, what kind of illustrations that they have used. You'll also learn to observe a lot of things. So you'll master the tool as well as you'll also observe a lot of UI design principles. To make it easier for you to practice, we have created an assignment in Figma where we have placed a lot of screens, like good well-designed screens in Figma itself, that you can straight away take and start replicating them in Figma itself. It is going to help you a lot in kickstarting your UI design in Figma journey. So that's pretty much about the session, guys. I hope you have learned about the basics of UI design in Figma. The next session is going to be really interesting because the next session is about AI. In the next session, we'll learn about some latest AI tools and how can AI be used in UX design to make your design process more efficient and faster. So till then, thank you so much.